Topics. Yes, yes, I would like to do it right. People's opinion on popular topics. You are watching People's opinion on popular topics. Thank you.
Yes, we do have like several locations other than the Parliament. We have some locations in Orleans, Gatineau, and
Do you know how many people roughly are striking?
I don't have any idea, but I know that there are roughly around 30,000 Psac members here in Ottawa, which is like the majority. A lot of majority of the 155,000 is from Ottawa. So we're spread out across Canada, but we have the most members here in Ottawa.
It's a little chilly today, but how's the rally going?
I think it's doing good. Yeah, I'm a scanner and I've signed in a lot of people between 9 o'clock to 11. So there are a lot of people that are coming in and joining us.
After tens of thousands of federal workers walk off the job, Trudeau calls for more negotiations. Public sector union demanding a 13.5% pay increase over 3 years. By John Paul Tasker of CBC News. Psac workers and supporters picket outside the Canada Revenue Agency office in Sudbury, Ontario on Wednesday, April 19, 2023. More than 155,000 federal public servants are on strike after the federal government and the Public Service Alliance of Canada, Psac, failed to reach a deal before a Tuesday evening deadline. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is urging the union representing striking federal public servants to quickly hash out a deal to avoid serious service disruptions. Speaking to reporters ahead of a Liberal caucus meeting Wednesday, Trudeau said the government tabled an offer Monday, but the union, the Public Service Alliance of Canada, hasn't meaningfully responded to it. Psac announced late Tuesday that more than 100,000 workers would walk off the job after it failed to reach a deal with Ottawa on a new collective agreement after months of negotiation. Obviously, Canadians have a right and deserve to get the services that they need from the federal government, Trudeau said. That's why we need both management and Labour to get back to the bargaining table as soon as possible to continue to make progress. Right now, they need to get back to the table because they haven't been over the past number of hours. Psac National President Chris Allyward said Wednesday his union is at the table trying to reach a deal, something he said won't happen until the government is ready to come to the table with a fair offer. At issue in this dispute is pay and other workplace issues. Psac is demanding a 13.5% pay increase over 3 years, 4.5% annually. Some bargaining units are asking for more than that. For example, tax agency workers want a pay bump of 22.5%. The Treasury Board's Secretariat, the government department that is nominally the employer of bureaucrats, has offered a 9% over 3 years. Treasury Board Secretary Mona Fauchier said Psac has made unreasonable demands that aren't fiscally sustainable. She said the government isn't willing to sign a blank check to cover what she described as outlandish wage increases. Ottawa's 9% wage hike was endorsed by the Public Interest Commission, an independent mediator. Fauchier said the government isn't willing to go higher. Psac also wants more flexibility in the rules on working from home, and they want the right to telework enshrined in a final agreement. The government has demanded that public servants return to in-person work for a few days a week after years of COVID-related virtual work. That hasn't gone over well with public sector unions. Families Minister Karina Gould, the minister responsible for the passport program, said the job action will result in delays to services Canada rely on to travel. In fact, she said regular passport applications will not be processed while the strike is underway, a development that could lead to serious backlog. The passport program receives about 85,000 applications a week, and they won't be considered while most of the staff are out on picket line, Gould said. Passport Canada will only be able to process humanitarian applications and a select number of urgent applications, she said. CRA services will be delayed or unavailable. If job action wraps up quickly, it won't have a big impact. If it goes for quite some significant time, then it will, Gould said. If it's a couple of days or maybe a week, people will experience delays. If job action wraps up quickly, it won't have a big impact. If it goes for quite some significant time, then it will, Gould said. If it's a couple of days or maybe a week, people will experience delays. After what her message is for families who may see their vacation plans ruined by a dormant bureaucracy, Gould said she feels very terrible for them. I think, like all of my colleagues, we're hopefully going to come to a negotiated agreement with Psac expeditiously, so the impact on Canadians is minimal, she added. Immigration Minister Sean Fraser said it won't be business as usual as at his department either. He said the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada will essentially stop processing most applications for the time being. He said the timing is bad because the department had just started to chip away its massive backlog of nearly 1 million applications, which piled up during the pandemic. The Canada Revenue Agency also warned taxpayers that its services will be delayed or unavailable, which is unfortunate timing given the deadline to file taxes is April 30th. In a statement, the CRA said benefits payments will be prioritized and Canada Child benefit payments will still go out as scheduled. Call center operations will be limited during this job action, the CRA said. In announcing the strike action, the Psac said Canadians can expect a complete halt of the tax season, but the CRA tax returns filed digitally should see fewer issues. While there are no plans to extend tax filing deadlines, the CRA will continue to accept all tax returns. Those that are filed digitally, which represent the vast majority of T1 and T2 returns, will largely be processed automatically by our system without delay, the agency said. Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu said she already heard from some First Nations chiefs worried about the department's operations during the strike. The federal government provides many frontline services to status Indians. I'm going to be monitoring this really closely, Hajdu said. The department has an operational plan to continue to provide services. Frontline services won't be affected. Conservative MP Stephanie Cousy, the critic for the Treasury Board, ducked questions Wednesday about whether her party would support back-to-work legislation to force federal workers back on the job. She said Trudeau is to blame for the job accident. We're calling on the Prime Minister and the Liberal government to get their act together and end this strike, she said. It's his incompetence that has brought us to this place. She said the longer the strike goes on, the more Canadians will suffer. Canadians won't receive their passports. Canadians will not receive their tax returns as a result of the incompetence of this Liberal government, she said. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh joined some Psac workers on the picket line early Wednesday. Singh has said the NDP will never support back-to-work legislation. We envision that there might be a scenario where the government would bring in back-to-work legislation. They've done it in the past, and I said really clearly to them that we will never support that, Singh said. I looked directly at the Prime Minister and I said, we're a workers' party. We're not going to support back-to-work legislation. Never consider that as an option for us, because we're not going to do that.